All right, for the practice together for Grammar Lab 9, here are your directions. First, we're going to underline each modifier we find in the sentence. Again, notice here, I'm not going to ask you to label adjective versus adverb. We're just looking for all the modifiers in the sentence. We're going to check for and revise errors with these modifiers. If we need to cross out the errors, we're going to use strike through as a text feature, and we're going to type the correction in italics so that we know we've got what needs to be there. Errors to check. We're going to look for comparative and superlative errors, so we're going to count and make sure the more versus ER, the most versus EST are checked. Incorrect use of common modifiers, so that's the real, really, those sorts of things, as well as double negatives. So first one, already done or almost done. We have produced the most bestest show since 1998. So obviously that's redundant. So we'd strike through for most and EST. Underlining most bestest was the describing words, and we're going to italicize best as the part that we're going to keep. That's the correction there. Number 2, you can't hardly believe how we've changed since then. So for our modifiers, we're going to look at, we've got hardly, and we've got N apostrophe T. So we're going to go ahead and underline those. And for that, can't hardly. So we have N apostrophe T and hardly. That's a double negative. So what do we need to change here? Well, best option is going to be getting rid of the can N apostrophe T. So we're going to cross it out. Again, looking for the strike through. It may be up in the toolbar. If not, you go to Format, Text, Strike Through. It's Alt-Shift-5, not the kind of thing you ordinarily keep. So in which case, this should be, you can hardly believe how we've changed since then. Or your other option could be to say, you can hardly believe, or you can't. And so we'll take out, in this case, we'll take out the hardly. And we'll leave in just can't. So either you can't hardly believe, it becomes either you can hardly believe or you can't believe how we changed since then. What's challenging with this is there's oftentimes more than one fix. Well, as long as you find one of those fixes, you're good. Let's do one more together. Number 3, our first performance squeezed the audience real tight into the choir room. So modifiers, any describing words. Well, we've got first, real, tight, choir describes the room. All right, so these, I see no negatives in there. I see no comparative forms. And so the question becomes common modifiers that are misused. So what we're looking here is it squeeze the audience real tight or squeeze the audience really tight? If you're not sure, let's double check it. So again, real versus really, we can test it by using very. So we first want to squeeze the audience very tight into the choir room. Well, part of the problem is this. Tightly is a better choice here because it's how they squeezed, tightly. So we're going to fix that first, and then real versus really is a very tight or very tightly. Very tightly makes more sense. So that means really tightly into the choir room. First is fine, choir is fine, but those are the modifiers. All right. Go ahead and hit the pause button here. Try number 4. Again, if you're not sure what to do for underlining, just start by looking for errors. Do you see more or most used correctly, ER, EST? Do you see double negatives? Do you see real, really, good, well, bad, badly type things being used? Take a look for it. But just do number 4. Pause the video, give it 30 seconds, see what you can find, and pick the video back up again and see how you did. Go ahead and pause it now. All right, let's see what we found. Some modifiers here. I got never, bad, Control U, good, some. All right, so let's check what we've got here. So never, our concern is double negatives. I have never, but I don't see anything else. There's no not, there's no hardly to it. So never is okay. We never performed bad in a show. So the question is bad or badly. Okay. We've talked before, bad and badly. Well, badly makes sense if it was poorly works. We never performed poorly in a show. That sounds good. Poorly sounds good. So we're going to add the ly to this one. Okay, been good some nights than others. Good is awkward there. So options are, is that we've been well some nights than others. So the good and well is not the change here. Then it's a question of good, better, best. We never performed badly in a show, but we've been better some nights than others. We've been best some nights than others. Either way, we know that good doesn't work. I hit Shift I, not Control I. We've been better some nights than others. Good. By the way, let's check the then and than. Okay, than, THAN is the comparison. So we're doing more, most, EREST. Always should be having than, THAN. Use then, THEN, when it's time, because there's an E at the end of time. So then is about time. Otherwise, you're making a comparison, compare with an A, then you use than. All right, number 5. Go ahead, hit the pause button and try that one on your own as well. Give it a good minute, even 90 seconds if you need to see if you can find the error and fix it for number 5. All right, in terms of number 5, what do we have for describing words? I see smarter. Back can be an adverb. That's about it. One of the smarter ideas was to let alumni come back to help. Smarter. Okay, are we comparing only 2 things, or are we comparing more than 2 things? If we're doing more than 2 things here, then it should be smartest. And see how that sounds for you. One of the smartest ideas was to let alumni come back to help. That works. Let's do a bonus. Just because you're actually watching screencast today, let's get you through number 6. 3 alums help make each show well. All right. Pause it. Give it a shot and come back to it. All right. See the 3 alums. 3 describes the number of alums. So alumni, we'll talk about that one as a describing word. Make each. Each describes the show. And then well. Okay, there's no double negatives. There's no more, most, EST, none of that stuff. So it's all about the well versus good. 3 alums help make each show good. 3 alums make each show well. Because we're looking at good quality here, which is okay, but the question is, what are we describing? Are we describing the help, or are we describing the show? If it's describing help, help is an adverb and well makes sense. If we're describing the show is a noun, so it should be good. I'll let you decide which one you do. Again, if you're going to decide that you're going to keep well, then you leave it as is. If you think it's an error, then you cross out well and you add in good. Finish that one up. Do 7 through 10 on your own and be ready to check it with your teacher as soon as it's asked for. But make sure you get this checked before you actually try the sentence lab. Go to it.